Hey, hey, hey! How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Hello, 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 and welcome to another Ask Me Anything stream. Now, I didn't do one last night. I'm not sure why. Kind of left my brain. So I thought I'd do one earlier today because I know that later on, being Friday, so Friday for me is the day where it's the last day of the week. The only difference that makes to me is the fact that tomorrow I don't have to chase my children around trying to educate them, basically. So it does feel like a break. So Friday nights, I'm just like, oh yes, I'm just chilling. So I thought I'd do it this morning instead. So the Ask Me Anything today is all about, getting your depression and anxiety under control. Now, I'm Rosemary, Nonny, RNK for short. I'm the Prosperity Minister. I support people in leaving behind the pain of the past and rising victorious in their true design life. I believe everybody, I don't care where you are, you get to live free, fulfilled, financially abundant, and love-drenched, okay? Because I believe you're being loved all of the time, and that love leads to you getting anything you desire as long as you're willing to claim it. And the problem for most of us is that we've been taught not to claim it. We've been taught that we're greedy for wanting what we want. We've been taught that to be holy and to be good is to be, I don't know, broke. Although nobody said it quite like that. But the way we act out our lives causes brokenness and lack and scarcity in all different areas of life, whether it's your relationships, your health, your wealth, your work. And my goal, I suppose, my mission is to support you in living there's a saying that goes, and some of y'all will know where this comes from, that the childlike inherit the kingdom. I want you to get the kingdom, but you have to return to innocence. And so we're trying to shed all the crazy layers so you can return to your true design. Anyway, we can say that forever. So we're going to talk about how to get depression, anxiety, under whatever. I'm just going to speak off the top of my head because there's so much I could say about it, but there's not enough time in the day. Well, I'll say hello, guys. Say hello. Thanks for the thumbs up. Give me hearts. Give me all of that stuff, guys. It really, I'm sorry, but I love it. I just love it. So give me all of that stuff, but tell me who you are as well. I want to know where you're streaming in from. So tell me where you are. Tell me in the comments, okay? We're going to sing the affirmation. I am the captain of my ship. I'm in charge of my life. I am free. Here we go. I am the captain of my ship. I am in charge of my life. I am free. I am free. I am the captain of my ship. I am in charge of my life. I am free. I am free. I am free. I am free. You are free, okay? You're free, you're fulfilled, you're financially abundant, and you are love drenched. Start affirming that to yourself. Accept it as your divine right, because it is, guys. It is. So, question. I'm failing to get my depression and anxiety under control. What can I do? Oh. A lot of people are walking around slightly anxious or a lot anxious. A lot of people are walking around somewhat depressed. A lot of people will not even admit it, though. That's the other side of it. I would never have admitted when I went through my 4 years of depression, I would never have admitted that I was depressed, because that was not my personality. That's not who I am. I'm not supposed to be like that. But there was just this blank inside of me because I'd gone through bankruptcy. I felt like a failure, and the only way I could handle it was switching myself off. Okay, so sometimes depression comes because you don't know how to handle the stuff that you've been pushing down for so long that in the end your emotions just sign and switch off. So what would the answer to be to that? It's to start saying yes to you again. Start saying yes to you again. Start loving yourself again. I said it earlier and I'll say it again. For a lot of us, you've been conditioned to believe that the things you desire are not worthy of you, or that you're not allowed to have them. And so you go through most of your adult life trying to be what others have told you you need to be, which means that the whole time you're repressing your true design nature. the whole time you're repressing your natural emotions, you're repressing your natural happiness and sadness and anger and joy and all of that wonderful stuff. You're repressing, you're pushing it all down because you're trying to be responsible. You're trying to be an adult. You're trying to be taken seriously by the world. But in doing all of that, all of your energy is going to pushing down the real you until one day you crack. And for me, going bankrupt was my moment of crack. So that and I'm glad for it now. Now I see it as a gift. Because if not for that, I could still be doing what I was doing then. And you know what? The world was telling me I was doing okay. I was a pharmacist, I had a house, I had cars, I had cleaner. I was looking at helping people, doing all of that stuff at church. I had titles, I had the certificates, I did my postgraduate studies, I did all of that stuff. But I was denying the fact that I was walking around feeling empty because I felt, oh, well, I'm an adult now. I have to be responsible. I have to just keep going. And that is what, and in the end, it was, if not for that bankruptcy, I might still be doing that stupid stuff. So the whole time I was pushing myself down, trying to be accepted by people who didn't get me. Was it any wonder that in the end, your body, your whole, you'd be thankful in some ways. Okay, I know if you're feeling depressed and you're feeling anxious right now, then you might not be able to see what I'm saying here, but it's a hint. It's a hint from your body saying, honey, something isn't right. Now, okay, from a very practical perspective, from the more practical perspective, yeah, there are drugs that can help. If you really feel that you cannot handle it yet, and this, please don't see it as some kind of weakness. See it as I'm going to get the help that I need, both outside and inside. So if I need to go to a doctor and get any prescription drugs or whatever I need to get in order to sort it out, then I'm going to do that. But whilst I'm doing that, because that will only solve the symptoms of depression, so at least you can start to think again, you also need to come and start looking inside of you. Okay, I know in this country, sometimes you go to counselors and things and they try to help you to handle the stuff that you've been pushing down, because we don't want to just fix the symptoms of depression or anxiety. We also want to figure out what is it that you have been trying to repress or suppress within you that is now trying to get your attention. Because that's all it's doing. It's trying to love you into freedom. I know it may not feel that way in the moment that it's happening, but it's trying to love you into freedom. Because as I said, we keep thinking that the way to live an adult life is to deny who we are, is to deny what we want, is to deny how we truly feel, and just put on a front, put on a facade, pretend to be something that we're not in order for everybody to like us or to be respectable or to get money or whatever. But then you're selling your freedom. Your true design is fulfillment, it is happiness, it is joy, it is all the great stuff that you desire. That is your true design, but only if you will claim it. Only if you will claim it. Will you claim it? And the way you claim it is not by denying who you are. Oh, and all the rules, religion as well comes along and adds its own rules on top of everything and tells you how you're getting this wrong, and it's because God is punishing you maybe, or something, that God loves you on the one hand, but also you're supposed to follow all these rules in order for you to access the love. And there's just so much confusion out there in the world. And if you're listening to all of that, is it any wonder that in the end you start to feel a bit anxious? You can't even keep up with all the rules of what you're supposed to be doing in order to be acceptable, in order to do well in life. And so you shut yourself down, but then it starts showing up in things like depression. It starts showing up in illness in your body. It starts showing up in all kinds of weird and wonderful things. So I would say to you, one, okay, yeah, if you really need drugs, please don't see it as a weakness. Go get yourself something from the doctor. That's fine. Because in doing that, at least then you have it relieves some of the cloud so that you can start to think, actually, what is going on with me? What have I been repressing and suppressing inside of me? There's two sides to all of us, okay? There's the masculine, feminine, what they call it left brain, right brain, what they call it yin and yang, whatever you want to call it. And for most of us, especially in this community, you're so used to working your socks off, working very hard, which means that the masculine part of you is probably reigning supreme right now. But that means that for a long time, you've been shutting down your what's the word? Yeah, your feminine, and I don't care whether you're male or female, same thing. You've been shutting down your feminine, you've been shutting down your vibrancy, you've been shutting down your vitality, you've been shutting down the fun side of you, you've been shutting down or trying to be responsible. but you're shutting down you. It's inevitable that at some point it will come through. And I promise you, the feminine side of every single person is more powerful than the masculine. So when you find yourself procrastinating, you find yourself you can't get over depression or anxiety, it's because the feminine is finally putting her foot down inside of you and saying, "No more! You ain't listening to me! And I'm done with it!" And so then you find yourself overeating, or you find yourself feeling down and you can't do anything about it. La, 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 la. It's time to pay attention again to you. You know, when I say, and some of you would have read the post, or I've said it a few times, that there are two simple things that are required for us to live prosperously. It's to fall in love with the divine and fall in love with ourselves. I really mean it. Because most of you are putting yourself down. You might pretend to be in love with the divine, but really you're following what you call God because you're scared of going to hell, okay? Or you're scared that you'll be punished if you don't, which isn't really love. It's not really love. You can't say that's love. If the only reason why you're having a relationship with something is because you're scared that if you don't have that relationship, you're going to have a bolt of lightning crashing down on your head. That ain't love. That's fear, okay? And so you might tell yourself you have some kind of relationship, but it's based on fear, so it's not really real. And then you're also telling yourself that deity of yours wants you to forget about yourself and serve everybody on the planet and do everything for everyone. And so you keep putting your agenda down, telling yourself you're being selfless. Is it any wonder that a lot of spiritual people are depressed and anxious? Is it any wonder that a lot of good people who are doing their best to be so good, and yet they're suffering. They're suffering. And they're telling themselves stories of, oh, well, maybe in the next life things will be better for me. Or they're telling themselves stories, I don't know, they're just telling themselves a story, but they're not doing anything different. They keep telling themselves, oh, it's just part of the journey. It's just part of the this. And it's just a, honey, fall in love with yourself for real, for real. Fall in love with yourself for real. Get to know who you are. Get to know what you want. And stop denying yourself who you are. And fall in love with the divine for real. The divine is loving you all of the time. You are the only one judging yourself. You are the only one telling yourself stories about what you're supposed to do in order to be acceptable. You are the only one. Well, there might be other crazy people telling you that as well, but you don't have to listen to them, basically. And I know I'm talking, in some ways it can seem like what I'm saying is quite simple, but the truth is life is supposed to be simple. It's not supposed to be a complicated affair. But we human beings, with all our rules and all our, if you don't do it this way, you're not good enough, even though we can see that it doesn't work, we keep telling ourselves these stories. Are you done? So yes, if you're failing to get your depression and anxiety under control, just think about some of the stuff that I've said here. Each person is going to be individual. If I was speaking to you as an individual person, of course, I'd look at your specific situation separately. Just start first and foremost by stop trying to get your depression and anxiety under control. Just leave it alone and instead look at how can I love myself more today? I want to stay in bed. Okay, stay in bed then. Just love on yourself today. And then think of something else. What can I do that would make me feel valuable to me? Start loving yourself. You are worthy of your own affection and your own attention. Forget what anybody else wants or needs from you at the moment. Yeah, okay, if you have children, yeah, you can't completely forget that because you chose to bring them in, okay? But most other people can be forgotten for a season, okay? Most other people can be forgotten for a season. Young children, not so much. But you can still find a way. You know, all those rules that we even do when you're a parent. Oh, I have to get my children to do this. And maybe you just need to loosen up a little bit. Loosen up on them, loosen up on yourself. Get to know you again. Get to know you again. I promise you that if you would spend a little bit of time falling in love with yourself again and falling in love with the divine for real, in time, you'll look back and think, oh, there was a time I felt depressed and anxious, really? But that time will be gone. I don't know how long it will take. The journey it's usually because the journey of letting go of your old ideas of what is acceptable is harder than the actual just letting go. But we don't know that until you've gone to the other side, okay? So I can tell you that now, but you won't feel it. You'll feel as if you're going through a lot of tension But I promise you that you're expanding. If you would just fall in love with yourself, get to know yourself, get your journal out, start writing down what is going on in your mind. Get to hear yourself, listen to yourself, start paying yourself attention. Too many people walking through their life and you don't even know what is going on in your own head. You do know whatever was happening in everybody else's life, but you don't know what's happening in your own. Come back to you. Come back home. And from here, you will heal as you start to open up to love again. True, unconditional love that cannot be found from anyone out there. That kind of love that comes from your connection to Source, your connection to yourself. That's when you will heal. Okay? I hope that helps in some way. Of course, ask any questions. I'm always willing to do these Ask Me Anythings. If you want to work with me personally, then, reach out to me and send me a message and say that you want to work with me personally. I'll tell you what's the what with that. But otherwise, I would say to you, start with the Abundance Library. Start with the Abundance Library. Message me the word abundance and I'll get that link over to you. As you start to immerse your mind in better ideas, you'll free yourself to live a prosperous life. Let's sing the affirmation and bring this to a close. I am the captain of my ship. I am in charge of my life. I am free. You're so welcome, Saran. I am free. Okay, I want to answer this now. What practically do we do to start falling in love with ourselves and the divine? Practically, like I said, for goodness sake, just get a notebook to start with. Get a notebook to start with. Start listening to yourself. Start listening to the ideas, not judging them, not saying, oh, this particular thought, I shouldn't be thinking that, or I shouldn't do this, and I shouldn't think this, and I shouldn't think that. No. None of that judgmental stuff. This is who I am right now. This is how I feel right now, and I am worthy of my own attention. Is literally starting doing something simple like that. And I know there's all the practical things like, what do you want to do? What would be fun for you to do today? For real. Especially if you're a parent, particularly if you're a mother. I know a lot of you would be choosing to put your children ahead of you, which nothing wrong with, actually there's something wrong with that. There is something wrong with that. I would say, okay, so where you would normally use your money to buy your children a set of clothes. Because when I say things like go for a massage or go for if that takes your fancy, people are immediately thinking, yeah, but I need to buy my child this and I need to buy my child that. I'm saying, honey, put yourself first because your children will benefit from you putting yourself first. It is the simple things. What would be fun for me to do today that would help me love me? That's it. In terms of the divine, the biggest thing you can do in terms of the divine is, and I'm talking about this in Easy Success, which is part of the Abundance Library, is actually to rid yourself of what you believe the divine demands of you. Because those demands that you're living to are keeping you from a real relationship with the divine. What do you understand unconditional love to mean? I know for me that when I really was exposed to unconditional love, I thought it was too good to be true. That thing you think is too good to be true is exactly what the divine wants to pour upon you if you will allow it. But most of us come to the divine with our own rules of what is acceptable. But we tell ourselves that it's the divine telling you this, but actually it was just some person told you when you were young or something and you're still believing the nonsense right now, basically. But you've not really taken it directly to the divine. What do I do to build a relationship with the divine? Literally, again, it is me and my notebook sitting down with the divine. I wake up in the morning, I spend 2 hours, probably about 2 hours, just connecting. No rules. I can say what I like. I can think what I like. I can just listen to what he's saying to me. And I just write it down. I write down how I feel. And I know I feel loved. I choose to feel loved. I choose to believe that the divine is just pure love. And I just sit in it. Literally. No expectations. No rules. No, I'm supposed to have done that. I should feel guilty about this. None of that. I got done with all of that. I got done with all of that when I realized it was just keeping me away from real, intimate relationship with the divine. And I need it. You need it. We all need it. We're created. It's like gravity. When you are out of connection with your source, it's inevitable that your energy is going to fall and you're going to feel yuck. Because you're out of connection. It's like gravity. If you walk off the thing about gravity is that it happens more instantaneously. So we all believe it. You walk off a roof, you're going to fall down to the ground and die. But sometimes the lack of connection with the divine, it takes a long time for you to see the result of it. And unfortunately, you might be telling yourself because you're religious and you're doing your religious activities that you're fine. Except you feel this emptiness. You feel this yuckiness inside of you. And you keep trying to tell yourself, you tell yourself stories. It literally is because there's no connection with your source. You're trying to get all the love and everything you need from your external world. You're draining it of energy. Oh, I could say so much about this stuff, but it's always difficult to know what I would say that people will understand, which is why it's easier sometimes to work with people a bit more individually. But nonetheless, to fall in love with the divine, spend time with the divine without all the walls. Forget what anybody's told you about the divine. There are no rules. There are literally no rules. All the rules that you're living to are yours and yours alone. You don't need to have them. Falling in love with yourself, it really is just falling in love with yourself, actually paying attention to yourself, actually start trusting that you do know what is best for you. Start trusting that, when you really want to do something, that you should just go do it instead of telling yourself you're not allowed this and you shouldn't do that. Oh, you don't want to look this way to that person. And forget all of that stuff. Put yourself first. I know that sounds kind of almost evil, doesn't it? But put yourself first. I promise you, everybody in your life will benefit when you do that. But when you try to put them first because you think that that's the good way to do things, nobody benefits. Nobody does. I hope that helps a little bit because it's difficult. Each person, the way you're going to love yourself is going to be slightly different. I did a whole program on it, which is actually in the Abundance Library as well, called the Self-Love Personal Transformation Project. It's part of the Abundance Library. I would suggest you get the Abundance Library, guys. Okay? But really, just ask yourself the question, what would bring me great joy right now? And catch yourself when you start thinking, because you think of something and then you immediately say, oh, but I shouldn't do that, should I? Oh, that seems kind of selfish, or maybe I should wait until... No. It's those things that you keep whispering to yourself that are keeping you from your good. I hope that helps, Saren. I am the captain of my ship. I am the charge of my life. I am free. I am free. I am the captain of my ship. I am in charge of my life. I am free. I am free. I am free. I am free. Remember, freedom, fulfillment, financial abundance, and unconditional love, a love-drenched life, all those things are your divine right. Will you claim them? I hope so. Share this with someone else because other people need to hear this message, absolutely for sure. So please tag other people in, share this with other people. Let's spread the message of the Deliberate Millionaire lifestyle, okay? And if you have any other questions, there's going to be another Ask Me Anything post soon enough. Add your questions to there so that I can answer you specifically. Or look for the old one and add your questions to it. I haven't even finished those questions yet, but guys, I want you to prosper. We're all born to prosper. There's so much of life to experience. We just need to get past some of these holdbacks. As I say, I'm here to help you leave behind the pain of the past and rise victorious in your true design, if you'll let me. Until the next time, my loves, You are welcome, Mia. It's such a pleasure to share it with you. Enjoy, take it with you. Be the captain of your ship. Share this with someone else. If you want to find out about the Abundance Library, message me the word abundance and I'll get the link over to you. Until the next time, I wish you an abundance of health, of wealth, of happiness, and of love. Go forth and prosper. Until the next time, much love. Bye.